Alright, apparently I'm live. Alright, hey guys, welcome to another Supercars live stream. Today I'm going to finish working on my predictions. I've done a whole bunch of data analysis. I've got this, this thing, Team Stats, it's called. I realize it's like several years out of date from like 2022 in some cases, and so I don't have data on Premiere, Blanchards. Some teams are very big and very hard to keep track of, but I've pretty much finished doing Tickford. Things like engineers and managers, I think I could probably do better at because we have got changes this season. Where we've got Erebus have got changes. Matt Stone Racing have got changes. I think that both engineers. Oops, I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I wonder how many times that's happened in the time that I've been streaming. Okay. So, I think Caleb Mozart's, did he? Or was it Ollie Boone? I think Ollie Boone stepped up for Percat last year. It's so confusing because when I see Jack LeBrock, all I think of is a tyre power car, and that's been at Erebus. And so then I just get so confused between MSR and Erebus, even though they're two very different teams doing well. I mean, you could argue that MSR is the better team to be at the moment. But Erebus will almost certainly bounce back. So I was working on Cooper. I think Cooper has a lot of potential. He showed that he qualified really well. He dropped a lot of positions in races in 2025. But there were times where it was like, oh wow, Cooper's actually been doing a really good job. Like the Bend and Bathurst did a great job with Job Stewart, and so when they're on, they're on. But I don't know if Cooper is really going to tidy that up too much. But I think it was 2024. Ryan Wood was pretty much the same. He could qualify well, but he couldn't maintain it in the race. And then there would be other issues where he just wasn't getting it right. And so I think I said for 2025, I was like, if he can tidy all that up, then he'll be a lot closer. And then he was. In fact, he was so impressive that he was out qualifying Chaz quite regularly. Whereas Cooper versus Jack LeBrock in 2025, sort of as the year went on, Cooper started to out qualify Jack more and more as he got better at it. It's like, we know he's fast. We know he can do a great lap. But whether he can tidy it up as well as Ryan Wood, that's going to be interesting. But Cooper is a very talented driver. He just needs that nurturing and management to make sure that he isn't sort of screwing it up too often. So like in Super 2, he was really good, but there were plenty of times where he just crashed or something, and it was like, all right, that's not good enough. We don't need that. And in Supercars, we've had the same sort of experience, but he's been tidying that up a lot more. In 2025, it started off like, oh, he's crash happy, he's going to be banging into everyone all year. Tidied that up pretty quickly, and just doesn't quite have the speed. And so that's pretty much where he needs to fix things. But maybe not inside the top 10. I don't know what I was going to say next because then I started streaming and I forgot what I was going to write next. I actually need to show what I'm talking about, so we want entire screen so that people can know what I'm talking about. I just said woefully inconsistent, regularly drop positions in the races. I've got data to show how many positions. I think there were two drivers who were really bad at dropping positions, and they were Ryan Wood and Cooper Murray. I think there were other drivers who were also like that, but then I've got this other stat, which is like a bad racer stat, which is just a general, did they finish lower than they started or higher when they started? And that's all it's about. And that gives you an idea of whether they were actually doing that well at all. Whether and just like as a whole year sort of thing. There's a few different ways that you can analyze drivers' years, and I think the biggest one is well, there's a few different ones. Um, so what was it? There's how like qualifying head to heads and race head to heads, and then you've got um positions that how many positions they drop per race or game per race, and then how many good or bad races they have. I think I mainly just track the bad races because you can just do the inverse and work out how many good races they have. Um, and that stuff is good to track. Like when I look at Greg Murphy or Mark Scaife or any of those drivers, and you look at their history and you go, wow, some of these years were really bad. Like Mark Scaife's years were like most of his races were bad from like 2004 onwards or something like that. It was just every year was not as good as he'd been at his peak before he took over HRT and started being involved in that. But we don't know if that was uh, in the particular race whether um, people were bumping him off or whether they were just not getting in arguments and races, getting in fights, or if they were just letting positions go, maybe not racing hard enough, or maybe they just did not have the race car speed. Um, and so that's yeah. And so sometimes you can't help. Like, all right, yeah, sure, he qualifies great, but he's not racing as great. And because they've got really great qualifying setup, but really bad race setup, which for me, there was this game, Motorsport Manager. I think it still exists. You could work on the quali setup and the race setup. And I used to work on the race setup first and then worry about quali later because if you have a bad race setup and you start on pole, you're just going to drop back and that's not fun. You want to start with the best race setup you can possibly have and then have like a half decent quali setup. So you're starting a bit further back than you like to, but at least you've got a way that you can move forward in the race. And I'm sure the teams work on things like that. I'm sure that, like, surely you'd think that they've got that sort of stuff worked out, but you don't know. Supercars is a qualifying series. It is not. That is rubbish. That is rubbish. And welcome back, dude. I haven't seen you in ages. Um, it's not. There's still passes being made on track. If it was a qualifying series like Monaco and Formula One, where you don't even bother watching the Sunday, you just check the results sheet at the end of the day. Passes do happen. People carve their way through the field. We celebrate it every time it happens. Like, oh, this guy started way down the order. They picked their way up through the 10. Look how well they've done. That's like whoever started saying supercars qualifying. It's a Scott Pye thing, right? Scott Pye says, oh, you have everyone start in the order of the fastest cars and then wonder why they're not passing. All right. All right. If I'm working on semantics, but I'm within 5 spots, people finish. I don't know if that's entirely true of the qualifying position. I can bring up stats on that, unless you're a legend. Well, maybe we've got a series full of legends. We probably don't, but or elite of the elite. Yeah, I'm gonna find where is it? 2025 drivers ups and downs. Where is that? If it's a clean race, you're not that much faster to move through the field. Well, Will Brown spent all year starting further down the order and carving his way through the field. But it's easier to drop positions as well. It's harder to gain positions. So who have we got here? Oh, Thomas Randall. The most positions that he gained all year was 9 here at Queensland. Will Brown's champion of the best car in the series. Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to use that as an example because he's just been in competitive cars the entire time. Yeah, so Thomas Randall here the highest he moved up was what 9 at QR, but 23rd up to 14th. He probably should have started 14th. Yeah, Cooper Murray dropping a million spots. Was that 19th to 11th? You can't focus on race pace because if he starts too far back. He's not fast enough to come back through. Yeah, true. Well, you're still fast, but you're not going to be able to make it into the top 10. I think that both of those things on lock. I think it's sort of a balance. I think it's a balance in every team that you've got to have like some like hang on. There are teams and drivers that'll get qualifying pace nailed, and so you've got guys like Cam Waters qualifying up the front all season, but then they're dropping positions during the races. Not as many as a Cooper Murray, but they're still not always able to get that race set up right. So what's Cooper got? He only went as high as 5, I think. 8 at Gold Coast, but that's 21st up to 13th, which isn't great. We were expecting him to qualify a lot better. 19th up to 11th. You see Randall on pole, you still don't expect him to win because he's not a good racer. Yeah. Whereas if it was a Waters, maybe Waters would do a better job. Brock Feeney on pole, you're like, it's over already. Yeah, true. Unless he rolls forward a QR and then gets the 5-second penalty. But yeah, it would have been his if he hadn't done that. But I think hang on, Brock wasn't able to turn every single one of those poles into a win. He didn't get 20 wins. He just got was it 20 wins? 20. There's a lot of ones. Certain guys you can't qualify behind because you're not getting past them because their pace is too similar to the last one. 14 wins. Yeah, so there were times where he dropped positions. Albert Park, well, that's just the nature of the track, I think. Yeah, that one at the bend, that wasn't his fault. Adelaide, I think he played it safe in the first race at Adelaide. I don't remember if anything else happened, and obviously they had the issue. So I think he was converting a lot of them. Just wasn't getting like some of the. So hang on, if there's 14 wins in was it 20 poles? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 18 poles. Rarely lost from pole on pace. Yeah, so 14 poles from 18 wins. I think that's what. That's only 4 times. There's 2 at Albert Park. Oh, I didn't count that other one. Yeah, only one that was legit, and the one at QR, but that was a mistake he made. And not every single one of those wins came from pole either. Yeah, Albert Park is also a flow-based track. It's not an easy track to get things right. Like as soon as you get bumped out of the way, then you got 4 cars gone past you, and then you've gone from first to fifth, and then you got 6 on your tail trying to get past, and it can be pretty bad. So it's Albert Park is just one of those tracks where I don't blame anyone for having freak results or having a bad time because it's just the way that track works. Like Brad Jones seems to rock up there and have a great time every year, but that's kind of an outlier of their whole season every year. So there's that one at Queensland, one at the Bend, two at Adelaide. The reason people say it's a qualifying series is because you generally finish in the area you qualify. Yeah, well, find a series that isn't a qualifying series. Maybe Trans Am? But even Trans Am, I think, like, the only reason that you're carving your way through the field is because you had a bad qualifying session or you had a penalty or something like that. So, yeah, it being a qualifying series, is the point isn't that it's bad. I every time I hear someone say that being a qualifying series is, they always say it like it's a bad thing. I think it's good, and it's still impressive that people are able to pass because it shows that the cars are actually really close and the drivers are really close. Drivers can't focus on race pace because qualifying is so important in this series. Yeah, so it's a balancing act. They got to get both roughly good. Everyone's within 1.5 seconds. Yeah, true. Um, yeah, what can if Cooper Murray tidied up his whole season? And there's like a lot of things that he screwed up on. And some of these races, I don't know what happened. Um, you have to be on the ball, and like even a Brock Feeney back in the pack, so hard to get through. Yeah, I think he was actually able to have a much better time this season or in 2025 compared to 24, because in 24 every time he qualified down the back, he just wasn't getting it right. And wasn't able to carve his way through the field. But in 2025, 20th up to 7th, that's the worst qualifying he had all year. So he just fixed his qualifying. He didn't fix his race pace, maybe, but we don't really know, I guess. He looked like Lowndes carving through the field. Well, I think, yeah, I think a Lowndes is different to a Feeney. What's that? 14th up to 8th at Townsville, which that's not great. Most positions he gained was sick. Hang on, 13th at Taupo, but he started 20th. 6th at Townsville. Since being able to get through, yeah, I think SVG was probably had a much bigger reputation for it. Like he was a bulldozer. SVG would come up behind somebody, and you knew he was going to get through, whether there was going to be a dent in the back of that car in front of him, or he was going to bump him out of the way. That was Red Bull days. Pre-Red Bull days, he wasn't as scary. Yeah, I think the way he drove in 2016 was different to the way he drove in 2022. Um, he changed as he grew into that team, especially after 2017, where he was screwing things up and dropping positions. From that point onwards, 2018 onwards, SVG was a different machine. He was aggressive, and he really challenged Scott McLaughlin, and yeah, that was awesome to see. We love watching two of the best guys just racing so hard. But I think we didn't like the bullying too much. It felt like a bit of on track bullying and wasn't wasn't fair. Like I don't think SVG ever won driver's driver because he wasn't fun to race against. He was just able to get through people that quickly. I don't really know what to say for. I don't know what I was saying next for Cooper Murray. Where were we? I don't know what happened at Albert Park, but I assume he got shoved out of the way. I have been watching a bit of that Um, that channel that you sent me, the Motorsport Direct. Except 2014, the full season is already up on the Supercars YouTube channel. This guy just doesn't know that, and I just thought that's funny. I think all of 2015's up as well. Um, but all the other ones like 2016 up to present, that's great. I like seeing that. I was watching a little bit of 2023 Albert Park, and then I couldn't focus and needed to work on doing my data. So yeah, something happened here at Albert Park, but Albert Park was just insane. Bumped off by Cam Hill. 2016 season. Yeah, 2016, 2017. Two of the best seasons in recent memory, I think. And 20, yeah, hang on. I can't think of any other seasons that I was like, this is the best. I just want to watch every race over and over again. Wingcap choked so bad that year. Did he? I'm not gonna go into that rabbit hole at the moment. I'm gonna try and see where Cooper Murray could have tidied up things. He got bumped by Cam Hill, which wasn't helpful. He screwed up here at Tassie last year. Wingcap was the fastest driver. Yeah, I'll believe that. He was still getting lots of pole positions and race wins. Just SVG started to get good and started just mowing him down. He was just faster. Murray was a crash kid. It's hard to say. So he's run Di Pasquale off. Garage 15-second penalty for incident. Doing dumb shit. I think he got better as the year went on. Tagged by Golding. Crashed in the beach chicane after tire failure caused by contact with Aaron Cameron. And I can't remember what happened in that first race. I think he got shoved off in that first race at Adelaide. Maybe it was the second race. He spun Feeney in the first one. Did he? In Sydney. Yeah. Yeah. Run deep to pass Feeney. Ran him off track at the final corner. Ended up spun off the track. Yeah. He didn't spin Feeney. He span himself. Yeah. And that was when I made a video saying that Cooper Murray is Captain Carnage. But he tidied up a lot of that stuff. Like, got to late in the year and he's not really doing too much wrong. Dropped from 15th to 22nd. Don't know what happened there. QR. Well, that's Townsville. It was like, I think that third race, Erebus tried a different fuel strategy. Yeah. Yeah, Cooper got a lot better towards the end of the year. Did a brilliant job at the Bend and Bathurst. And yeah, almost won Bathurst. I really wish that he actually did, because then that would have made, like, he probably wasn't going to be anywhere close in finals. Like, he had a really bad end of the season where he was barely qualifying well, apart from those first two races at Adelaide, and not really dragging it further up. It would have just been cool to prove the point that you can actually do it. You could actually get into the finals from being 19th in the championship. Yeah. So Kai Allen and Cooper Murray would have just been awesome. But I think there's more things that I haven't written down that have happened that I don't know what it was. I think Kai and Cooper, and it's so funny, we spent the last few months talking about how fucked it would be if Feeney didn't win, and it happens. Yeah. And I think you had to allow for that. You had to allow for the possibility that the guy who did a great job for most of the season didn't get the job done at the end of the year. But the thing we got to keep on reminding ourselves is it wasn't because he did a bad job. It was because the car had issues, and that cost him. So, and that sometimes it happens where in 2023, SVG had a chance of win the championship. He probably wasn't going to do it, but then he DNF'd out of both races. I think, yeah, just had two terrible races 2 years in a row, really. So like it can happen. You can get to the end of the season, like Scott McLaughlin 2017, and people keep on. I can't remember what the thing is. I guess there's a thing. Crashed into Brown the first race. Yeah, well, he's just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Where Brown's gotten run wide into by Anton, and he's clipped that wall in the staircase at Adelaide, and then just bounced into everyone. And Cam Waters was so lucky not to be one of those people. I think the same sort of thing might have happened. Wasn't there a Concertina incident at the last race where Jack LeBrock just got caught in the Concertina and he got a bunch of crash damage, and we're like, what happened there? There was like 3 cars all caught in it. Might not have been the exact same spot though. But like it can happen. You can do a great job. You can be the best guy all year, but you still have to have the highest amount of points at the end of the year. If it wasn't for finals, Feeney definitely would have won the championship. There's a few things about the final system that I don't agree with, because some people think championship position means that it was close. It just means they're the next up in terms of points, not that they were within 5 points. Sometimes they're 100, 500 points gap between drivers. And that's the annoying thing, is that people who aren't familiar with what's going on are going to look at it. Like in my Thomas Randall video last week, I said people are going to look at the last 2 years and think that Thomas Randall is a great driver because he finished 1 position behind Cam Waters, when in 2024 he was 500 points down, and in 2025 finals caused them to be meshed together, so that they're all closed up, even though more consistent drivers got more points. They are actually fixing some of that though, so it might be different. It's not going to be able to happen the same way this year. You won't, because they'll be getting knocked out. So an Andre Heimgartner could have a great end to the year and pick up and get himself into the top 10. It's hollow still. It is. And they changed the NASCAR rules as well, where they pretty much made it the same as Supercars. It's hollow still. Even if the right person wins, you can't have the same trophy for a fully different concept. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think it's the problem with casual fans versus diehard fans. You know, as like a casual fan of most racing categories, I'll look at Jimmy Johnson in NASCAR, and then people will tell me he didn't deserve most of those championships. Yeah, how can you say Chaz Moss is champion the same way Will Brown is? Exactly. Yeah, it sort of taints it. It's it's an asterisk, the same way that they say 2020 was the year of the asterisk. That was below the bonnet title, but his name goes on the same trophy. Exactly. Maybe the sprint championship trophy will matter more. I don't know. Yeah, time will tell. It's not going to happen quickly. We're not going to have a decade to say that it. I don't think it needed to happen. No, I'm a purist like that as well. Like, it was fine the way it was. I like things being on merit. Financially, it made sense to them. sometimes finance isn't a good reason to change things. Like, oh, we're getting more people come watching the racing, or what or whatever it was like. But there's so many factors that go into why people bought more tickets, or they had more eyes on the screen. I fluff the numbers every time. Yeah, so the ticket numbers, but also, um, yeah, and you can't be sure about the viewership numbers because it sounds like every year the Bathurst viewership, they count the same person coming in 3 days in a row. Yeah, on the V8 Sleuth, on the undercut, they said, well, no one's gained my ticket 3 days in a row. So, like, it depends on who you are. It's not like, who are they counting? Are they counting just general admission, your typical person coming through? Or if you have like a Supercars badge, they see you, they don't bother to scan it. Um, and it also depends, like, yeah, the band they just walked in. It would have to be at the actual opening, at the outer gates, not like inner gates where if you're going to a grandstand spot or something. Like when I was at the Adelaide 500 in 2024, um, I didn't need to show my ticket to get to my grandstand spot, but I did need to show it to get to the first gate to get into the actual facility. So, um, yeah, those numbers you can't really be sure of. Um, Tell you what though, I knew quite a few people watching Bathurst, but I don't know if they watched every year. So, not everyone watches every year. And I've heard that people were talking about Supercars more because of finals, but I wasn't talking to anyone new about it. Like I wasn't talking to anyone um, who I had never who had suddenly expressed an interest. Everyone that I talk to about Supercars, it's always the same people or people who maybe I've just met. It's not someone I've known for ages and they didn't give a rat's and then all of a sudden they do. Um, so I don't know. Comes from World Motorsport Partnerships. Um, can you give an example? World Motorsport Partnerships. Big boost will come because Verstappen said he want to drive it. Yeah, I haven't seen that thing yet. I saw that it came out this week and I haven't watched it yet. The 100 Years of Cars, and that'll be so cool to watch. But yeah, there'll be people who go, "Oh, what's Supercars?" And then they might watch a bit, watch some highlights or something, or watch Crash compilations, or NASCAR fan reacts to Supercars, um, stuff like that. Um, I think there needs to be more cross collaboration. Like someone that had a big fan base will bring extra eyes. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Um, and the problem is, unfortunately, Verstappen will never race Bathurst because unless he doesn't care about winning the championship or he doesn't have a chance, and then he just won't do Japan, and then he'll go do Bathurst instead. Which, I mean, luckily it's not too far out of the way. It's on the same part of the planet. Mank's like the only one that actually tries to drive other cars and has clout. Yeah. Fernando Alonso used to do that stuff as well. Like when he stopped doing, he didn't. I think he missed Monaco, so he could go do Indianapolis, go to the Indy 500. So sometimes it happens where a Formula One driver will go to Indy, but he only did that when he was at McLaren. I think was it 2 years in a row. Alonso was so far gone. Well, he wasn't winning the championship. Yeah, Max is the best driver. Yeah, yeah. So it'd be different for Max. I think I saw P1 with Matt and Tommy said that. Who was it? I think it was Tommy said that Max isn't going to win a race this year. That's his outlandish prediction. I don't really have any outlandish predictions for supercars, though. I don't think. I don't want to make an unrealistic claim about a driver. Because usually I'm wrong anyway. Imagine Lewis Hamilton was the best to win a driver supercar. Yeah. Well, Jenson Button did it in 2011. He was winning races. But I think Lewis threw away a lot of like they had a car that they could have won the championship, and he kept on throwing it away, and that's why he didn't win. Lewis has star power. Yeah, Lewis is more popular than Jensen. I don't know if he was more popular at the time. Lewis probably got more popular in his Mercedes days. Lewis, well, the car was failing, but didn't he also run off track in one of those races? It wasn't because he didn't do, but it wasn't because something failed on the car. I don't know too much detail. 2011. I think it was 2011 was the, or was that 20, wait, it was 2010 the Bathurst drive with Jensen? I'm gonna look that up. 2011 he was bad, yeah. What year was the Bathurst drive? 2011 was? Jensen, Button, Bathurst. 2011, yeah. 2010 Jensen did Albert Park. Yeah, yeah, there was something like that. But also, didn't Lowndes drive a Formula One car at Albert Park? We're getting way off topic at the moment with me trying to do my predictions, but I've got time today, so we can go for hours. Whincup drove the F1. Okay, I thought Lowndes did. Yeah. So it must have been Jensen did Albert Park. Lowndes drove Bathurst. Oh wait, did Lowndes drove the F1 at Bathurst or? I'm getting confused now. So Whincup drove the F1 at Albert Park, and Lowndes drove it at Bathurst. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, and then Jensen and Lowndes did the swap. Right, that makes sense. Okay. I don't know what happened at QR to Cooper Murray there. Oh, hang on. I've got my notes. Where are my notes? Is it here? Not there. Alright. I think QR was the last time I actually took notes. That's the bend. Bathurst. Alright. I think QR must have been a lot further out. Oh, that's a bend. Oh, here we go. Second race at QR. That's the shootout for race 3. Qualify for race 3. Second race. Alright, that must be the second one. So Cooper. Is Cooper caught up in the crash of the first one? Was that the second race? Second race was the wet one, right? Murray and Cameron caused Aaron Cameron to be beached. Griff Murray banged into the back of Randall off the launch. So he might have had wheel damage or something. He might not have. He might have got garaged. No, LeBrock got garaged. Cameron beached at 1, Evans wrecked. Oh, this is the big, yeah, so Cooper Murray might have got caught in that first that first turn incident. So yeah, that was race 2. So he might have had damage from it. Damage from turn 1 pile up. A lot of cars had damage from that one. But how many times did he qualify up the front? It's 5th and 3rd at Albert Park. 10th at Taupo. I think he got bumped off by Cam Hill, but something else must have happened. Maybe was there a safety car in that first one? Because some of my notes aren't helpful, like was there a double stack or something? I don't really have any notes for double stacks for him, so I don't know. I don't have any notes from Taupo. When did I start taking notes? Townsville, I think. And I think Townsville was the fuel one that they did. What is this? That's got to be Townsville. They're talking about heat stroke, right? What is this? Quali for race 1 and quali for race 2 back to back. Yeah, this is QR. Okay, here we go. 3 stopper for Erebus. Is this the one? Yeah, I think Cook Murray might have had the same thing. 3 stopper. Didn't pay off. So annoying. I wonder if they might have been better off if they hadn't done that. So it's like he didn't do anything wrong there. In the race though, he's dropped 2 spots for some reason in that second race. What's this one? This got to be a race. So if I look at the race for Cooper Murray, got run wide by Will Brown. Yeah, that's the makings of a champion. Run wide by Brown. Stayed out in the safety car and they pick a lap later. And that's it. Not really. It might not have helped getting run wide. But also, like, he out-qualified somebody qualified behind him, so he lost one position from that. Clips the curve in practice. Nothing for race 1 there. Evans rode the wheel of Cooper Murray. That might not have helped him. And that's it. Okay. That's that for QR. Well, that's it for Townsville. QR though. Struggling at 1 in practice 1. Changing shocks. Well, everyone does that. I'm gonna write that down. And grab some dirt, the extra 6. Done that a few times. And practice 2. Practice 2. Grab dirt in practice. And quality. Murray says he missed the apex at 3 on his lap. Alright. Apex on his lap. In race 1. ADP versus Anton. What else? Might be a bit more. Came 1 spot though. It's not too bad at all. Maybe I should try and actually get some predictions done. The main thing that I want to do is see if there's like elements of him improving, and I think Cooper Murray is improving. What did he finish in 2025? 18th in the championship. I think he could do better than that. It depends, though, because there's a few drivers who aren't in 2026. So, like, there's no Courtney, there's Golding instead. There's no Davis, and there's Rylan Gray instead. I'm not optimistic about Rylan Gray mainly because I'm not optimistic about DJR, because I don't think the DJR are like a Groves. They're not going to be able to give two drivers the same treatment. Not in the Brody era. I think it's going to be harder for him. I think he might struggle like Will Davison struggled. But don't know. It'd be good if DJR just nailed it with Rylan Gray. He's going to come in and do an amazing job. What else? There's Zach Bates instead of Nick Percat, and I think Zach Bates might actually do a pretty good job, mainly because it's MSR and they do a pretty good job with their cars. And they seem to be getting better year on year. MSR seem to be one of those teams that they're going to improve. That seem to be improving. Look at where's the team stats? Like more podiums in 25. They're still getting regular top 10s. And whether they can continue that is the important thing. So I think MSR might actually be able to continue that. I don't think they haven't lost anyone. They've just moved some people around. They moved Jack Bellotti. I don't think he's been in the picture for a few years. He's still with the team. Then you got, is that 2 engineers? I think Caleb Mercedes is a hang on, who's it's sort of confusing. Hang on. Is Jack LeBrock in the 4? Or is he in the 10? I guess it's all in teams championship order. I think Rylan Gray will probably be in the 17. And I guessed that Ojeda was going to be in the 31 because they were just waiting for Stanaway to get out of the seat so that Golding could go and be in the 7, and then Ojeda could grab his 31. So yeah, LeBrock's in the 4 and Bates in the 10. So Bates is in the Bendix car that Percat was in. But it looks like they've sort of moved the engineers to a different entry, I think. They said Brody will take 17. Where'd they say that? But like, why would they take it? That's the thing. Has the launch happened? An article age ago is not confirmed, but like rumored to be. Yeah, well, that's all we've got at the moment is rumors. We've just got rumors that that he might take it. No team has launched yet. No, it's still January. No one's going to do it yet. But apparently they are doing it. Well, they're doing it in February, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I just think it's sort of pointless for him to. I think maybe he just used the 38 because that was just a number that he had run that he liked being with that number. I just think that he'll have the 38 for 1 year and then he'll have the 17 the next year. I just think that's sort of pointless. Like, I like there being a reason for things. I like probably in the same way that I like the idea that Grove Racing knows what it's doing when it comes to picking its drivers. But then you get quotes from people who are involved saying that, oh no, we just sort of winged it. So they want to see the 17 winning. Yeah, they want to. They have Will Davison in it for several years, and I think, hang on, who won the more races, Anton or Will? I think it might have been Anton, just from the ones he got in 2021. He had it first. He had it first. He had what first? What? Who had what first? Will Davison had the number first. Yeah, so obviously Brodie wasn't going to take it off of Will until Will was gone. That's fair enough. And yeah, I guess they wanted Brodie to have a special number because he was their big money guy. So, but yeah, I guess we don't know just yet. Due to be made public on February the 6th. Well, that was 2025. Yeah, so no one knows. When Brodie came in, like, no point taking it out it would have been a bad look, yeah. And they took the 17 off of Stephen Johnson in 2012. Yeah, for Bathurst, yeah, that was brutal. I wanna look into Stephen Johnson one day and look into the details. But yeah, it's just like, oh, I guess Stevie's not doing a good enough job or something, so they're gonna take his special number off of him. Yeah. Yeah. I guess, yeah, Oliver Bone on the 4. Am I getting my numbers wrong or something? Gave his test every to James, yeah. Jack Lebrock. 2026 engineer. Ollie Boone to engineer Jack LeBrock. Yeah, so that's right. Because they did just confirm it. Yep. And then some more shuffles. Alright, they only changed it on race day. Oh really? They only changed the numbers on race day. That's brutal. What? Did Moff out qualify CVJ or something? Let's look. 2012 Bathurst. I don't know about the numbers part though. Oh, the livery. They changed the livery on race day. Okay, right. Him offer starts 17th. Oh, hang on, that's car number 17? Well, it says that for entry, but that must have been entry for the race, right? And then what number was it? Stevie J in. You got the triple F1 DPRA in there. And Stevie J and Alan Moffat in the 18. Alan Simonson in the 18. James Moffat, Alex Davis in the 17. And so what did I could find him 17 and they start next to each other. Moff just out qualified Stevie J. It's just what's the point? And where's the 49? Oh, and Steve Owen, they might have a bit further up in the shootout, apparently. I made a few mistakes. It's a shame. Okay. Anyway, I guess I'm not so sure about Jack LeBrock anymore. I think he would do a solid job. Zach Bates, I think, could be impressive. It's tough to say. Maybe not inside the top 10. I'll finish with Cooper Murray. Close to the top 10 of the championship, maybe not inside the top 10. Yeah, I think it's okay. I predict he'll be 15th to 20th in the championship. He was 18th in 2025. Could be further up though. Don't know. Like you can't say that. Like Erebus had fast cars. I think they just weren't getting them set up right. Don't know. It's hard to say. Ojeda and Fraser. I don't know how to predict Premier. They're sort of unpredictable. They're all over the place. I need to run the numbers and actually work that bit out. Golding and Aaron Cameron. I think that Jimmy will do as good a job as Courtney did. I don't know. Golding thrives in shit cars. Golding has just spent a lot of time in mid-pack cars, so it's hard to say that that he's just really good in those cars. You don't hear about him getting usually the star of the shit car team. Yeah, but he's only been in shit car teams. Like he's been at Premier, now he's moving to Blanchard's. Before he was at Gary Rogers, and his teammate was Garth Tander for one of those years. But 2019 was pretty much on par with Richie, and because Richie had his back issues, so he didn't he wasn't able to have the same sort of year as Jimmy. So, but definitely in his time at Premier, he's been like the best guy of the shit car team. So, but I think Jimmy will do a good enough job. Where was Courtney? 20th in the championship? 19th? Yeah, I think he'll do better than 19th. I mean, Jimmy was 14th. So I think he'll be better. Any other changes? They're signing Tony Woodward, and I think they've just moved people. Oh, and it was confirmed Chris Fitzgerald is not going to be Jimmy Golding's engineer. He's going to be more of like a head of engineering. We'll also have Richie Stanaway as his co-driver for the Enduros. I think Richie will be a solid steerer at the Enduros. Maybe in his own car he was getting things wrong, whereas if you're in someone else's car, maybe not quite as aggressive. Some drivers are trying to perform, trying to get signed for the next year, when other drivers are just trying to do a good job and get the car back in the right position. And I think maybe that might be Richie. I don't think Richie wants to go back full time. He's been stung enough times now. He's probably just going to be a professional. And the things that you hear about people talking about Richie in teams, they often say like how good he is to work with. And it's just the fans on the outside that are constantly trashing Richie, saying that Richie's terrible, he's no good, all this. If we saw him get a second year at Groves or a second year at Premier, and the teams just let the contract play out, might have seen something do better. Um, 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 I think Jimmy isn't all that crash happy either. I think JC had mechanical issues. What's this order in? Is this order in bad races? It might be bad races. Not too many. I mean, one of them was the engine failure. That was about it. The gearbox failure, Bathurst. Not too many. They had a really good year in terms of like the cars weren't slow, and apart from whatever happened that third one at Darwin, he started 15th, so it didn't help. But most of the time, JC was actually gaining a lot of positions in races, but it's easy to gain positions when you start at the back all the time. So, how many times did JC qualify in the top 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 times, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, lots of times. 9, 10, 11, 12. You can't be sure that those same results will happen because I don't think anything. I think BRT is going to be better in 2026, just based on there aren't any people leaving from my knowledge. They've still got the same guy who's doing the pit stops. What's his name? Dennis, what's his face? Dennis Hooser. And then they got Aaron Cameron, and he improved over the course of the year. So Aaron Cameron should be a pretty solid steerer as well. So yeah, I'm gonna make a predict. Sean, Golding will be. I'm gonna say 10th to 20th in the championship. It's a bit of a fast stretch. It's hard to predict. You kind of have to look at like what teams losing people, what teams gaining people, and whether that seems to have affected things in the past. There's so much information that you have to comb through to be able to make an accurate prediction, and so that's why I always struggle with it every year. I won't be releasing my prediction video until the preseason test when the photos come out, and that's what then I make my video. I think where was Aaron Cameron? He finished pretty decently, 22nd. He did that. Yeah, he got past Jackson Evans, but Jackson had so many DNFs. Really unfortunate. Like bad luck in that one. What was the one at Bathurst? He crashed, didn't he? QR, not sure what happened. Oh, he got crashed into in the pile up. One's at Townsville, one at Darwin, and this one at Barbagallo. Alright. But I think he did start to get more points per round. So I think he could be good. Here we go, 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, 22nd, 21st, 19th, 24th, 9th, 10th, 18th, 24th. Like I think he's got the potential there to be, I say 15th to 20th. So improved gradually. Went on with a few impressive qualifying performances, especially in the Saturday race at Adelaide. We're on the front row. He can continue that performance. He should at least be 15th to 20th in the championship. That's my prediction. Premier, I don't know what to say. Job Stewart, I don't know. Job Stewart is a bit of an unknown one because he was really good as a co-driver, but performances as a co-driver don't always transfer for the main seat. Like I'm thinking of Thomas Randall, I guess, because I've got a lot of Thomas Randall in my mind from a video. But Thomas Randall used to do wildcards and we'd get a top 10 pretty regularly, and he was impressive. But I guess the way I wasn't thinking it was, if you dragged that across the year and repeated that across the year, he would have gotten more top 10s. And so that explained why he just sort of wasn't able to get the job done as a full-timer in his rookie season. And so that's a good comparison for Job Stewart, who's only driven with Erebus. So will the Erebus cars be good? I think the Erebus cars have been good the last few years. They just haven't been championship winning cars. And they need a better team. They need a stronger engineering base and better drivers. And Cooper's getting there. Job might be great as well. Job's a big unknown, but he did a very good job as a co-driver. I want to say 18th to last is my prediction. Then I'll do MSR. Okay, I want to say, Jack is a solid steerer who wasn't super impressive in 2025 at Erebus. MSR was did very well as a team. So if Jack is into a team and deliver podiums, then could put the car within reach of it. I don't know if there was a time in 2025 when Jack could have got a podium but didn't. Like Cooper had that time, but Jack didn't, and so that makes me think, all right, well, maybe Cooper's going to be better than Jack LeBrock. So it's difficult. Jack has been sort of like perilously mid-pack for his entire career. So I just don't think he's a championship contender. I think MSR sort of struggle to... They sort of have this delusion of thinking that Super 2 drivers who are like really like champions of Super 2 or drivers who were good that they raced against in Super 2 are great drivers and they should be driving for MSR. The only one that they sort of didn't do was, like, I guess Cam Hill was sort of like they sort of struck gold with Cam Hill, so you can't really. I mean, just because you get gold once doesn't mean you get it all the time. And they picked Nick Percat, and he was a good pick as well. And Jack LeBrock was good in 2023, but they didn't quite get the top 10 of the championship. And they got one pole. And you say that, I thought, even if they have as good a year as they had in 2023 or as good cars in 2023, they would have been doing better because Nick Percat's better than Jack LeBrock. I'm just not sure that Jack is going to be able to deliver those results. So, where did Jack actually? Hang on, where did Nick end up in the championship? 16th, and Cam Hill was 12th. It's pretty bad. Like Nick had a really rough end of the season. He was just sort of nowhere. Where are we looking there? So it's like if Jack LeBrock's going to jump into that car that struggled, actually no, he's not. He's not going to jump into Nick's car, but I would compare Jack LeBrock to Nick Percat then to Cam Hill, because I think Cam Hill's just been more impressive. Zach Bates has been impressive. I think Zach Bates is. I think of Zach Bates as like the next Cam Hill, and I think of Jack LeBrock as the next Nick Percat. Except Jack LeBrock probably wouldn't be as good as Nick Percat. So 10th to well, you know what? I'll say because Thailand was 18th in the championship. Perilously mid-pack all through his career with occasional impressive performances. When MSR broke through with Jack in 2023, that was a great performance. And maybe the team has gotten better since then, and that's why Nick Burkett and Cameron Hill have achieved more than Jack did. It's hard to say that Jack wouldn't be in their range of performance. Okay. Alright, so Zach was impressive in his wildcard outings in 2025. How did he I mean, at the Bend, they sort of didn't qualify very well. They put the car in the top 10 at Bathurst. Came 16th at the Bend, but I think they started last. And yeah. He's fast, but he needs to tidy up those. I think he could be another Cooper Murray. He needs to iron out his inconsistencies. Follow the path of Cameron Hill, and go on to become a strong contender for the team, but probably not in 2026. Hard to say, how many times does a rookie come in and do a better job than an established driver in modern supercars? While Cooper Murray was pretty great in 2025, he was Jack was doing a great job against him earlier in the year, and then just sort of had a bad couple rounds the last 2 rounds. Whereas Cooper was just sort of scattered all over the place, not getting those results. Had a pretty bad mid-season. Started to tidy things up from Darwin onwards, I think. But tough to say. Could follow the path Cameron have gone to become stronger, probably not in 2026. Also seem strong team for both drivers. So, Zach have a good chance of being able to show how good he can be. I like saying impressive because if a driver is impressive, it means they've done something you're like, oh wow, that guy's good, rather than how good they are. So yeah, I predict Zach. You got Zach and Jack at Matt Stone Racing. I predict Zach to be I want to say 14th to 24th in the championship. Oops. Oops. Alright. Yeah. I don't know what to say about Macca Jones because he's sort of like consistently down the bottom. Ugh. I think I'm going to put Macca down the bottom. I can't see him doing better than 20th. I think he was 19th once. Be good to know who Andre's new engineer is. They might promote a data engineer or something. Or maybe Brad Vaughan's engineer. I don't think they wouldn't do that to their top guy. Where are we looking? Macca Jones, 2019. 21st, 19th in 2020, and 2022. So that's as high as it can go. And I can't remember how many of the numbers I've got that. Where are my driver ups and downs for 22? Because I want to say that was the last time he was good, but I thought he was actually quite good in 23. He just maybe wasn't quite consistent enough because he did get 3 top 10s. I think it comes down to averages. I don't really have his average qualifying position. There's a lot of stuff that I can do, but I'm back to work these days, so I don't really have like a lot of time to be working on these things anymore. I could just not do overtime and come home and work on better Supercar stats. That'd be fun. Um, 22nd in 23, 22nd in 24. 21st in 25. He's sort of dancing around that spot, really. 23rd and 21, and I remember 21 has actually been quite a good year for his qualifying performances. Alright. So. Well, there you go. You look at the caliber of the people Macca Jones is up against. Chris Pither, Jacob Brock in the MSR car, Jake Kostecki and Thomas Randall, Jack Smith, and then the rest did not do full seasons. His qualifying wasn't super impressive. It's not like he was qualifying in top 15 a lot of the times. 1, 2, 2 times in 2022. How many times did he qualify top 15 in 25? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, Macca's not too bad. Um, 1, 2, 3 in 2024, but 24 was a particularly bad year for the team. So it's not surprising that he was struggling with qualifying. 23, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5's not too bad. And what was this one? 1, 2, 2 for 2022. 2021. Brad Jones Racing. Jones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright. I was right. 2021 Macca Jones was peak Macca Jones. But maybe that was just a great year for the team. Like, Perkout was qualifying in the top 10 regularly, so Macca was closer. It looked like he was like second, well, second best quite often, so. But he was not quite as good as Hazelwood. Hazelwood had a really bad run there. Jack Smith was good for a bit there. Don't know what to say about Macca Jones. It's hard to say whether he'll pull a great performance out, but maybe Paul Scalzo, or we'll go to Andre, or maybe Phil Keed will go to Andre. I think there's probably a few changes that could happen at Brad Jones Racing. So I want to put some question marks there. So, Macca could end up with a new engineer. He's had several engineers in his career. Macca shown on occasion a star driver at BJR. But not on a consistent basis. No. Erebus should team up with the NASCAR team, get wildcards going for Trans Am drivers and NASCAR drivers looking at supercars. All right, Gerard. Wildcards to get Trans Am drivers into NASCAR, and then NASCAR drivers into supercars. But why would what is it? Just because Erebus have got that connection with Richard Childress Racing? Because I don't think Erebus have that many. They've got. Hang on, who's the other co-driver that they've got? What's he called? The funny guy. He's like another Will Brown. And I can't remember what his freaking name is. He drove with Jack this year and he did a good job. But he does Trans Am. For something I've lost for his name. What is his name? Jared Hughes. Jared Hughes is like another Will Brown. I think he races Trans Am. So yeah, he could end up doing a wildcard NASCAR. But the problem is you need like a big profile to go do NASCAR. So it's not really possible. Whereas like all of the supercars drivers that have gone to NASCAR have been big name drivers: Cam Waters, Will Brown, Brody Kostecki. Jack Perkins managed to do it, but he had contacts that could get things rolling for him. And Jack Perkins he's not a nobody. He's not a guy who's just coming up. Everybody knows who Jack Perkins is. So that's why he was able to go to the Xfinity for a couple rounds. So yeah, I don't think it can be done for Trans Am drivers. But for NASCAR drivers looking at supercars, well, who did Austin Cindric did the one with Tickford? Did I hear that? I think Premier were going to be involved for the one at Adelaide, but then it didn't happen. Not sure why it's got to be Erebus. I guess you're saying um, just because they've got that contact with Richard Childress Racing, but I think quite a few teams probably have some sort of contact. I think Austin Cindric got involved with supercars through Ford Performance, maybe. Not sure how it all unfolded. Might have to watch that interview with on the Scott Pye podcast again, because I think then I think he might have gone into a bit of detail about how it happened, but I think there were some bit more corporate influences involved. It wasn't just like a fluky thing. It wasn't like something that happened with the teams. So, and I think they had a couple of other ones. They were trying to get who am I thinking of? My goodness. NASCAR drivers looking at yeah. I think the thing is about the NASCAR and supercar connection is that there's a lot of interest, but you have to you got to have sponsors to make it happen so that you can fund the entry into the championship. Because there are teams that do have a spare car, like Tickford's got a spare car. Don't know about Erebus. Don't think they've got another car. They might have a spare. But yeah, it was hard enough to get Austin Cindric's entry to happen, where they had full performance backing, Armor All, and Repco, and that was the entry. Whereas you're not seeing like some big American sponsor coming in and sponsoring the car. Like you're not getting like maybe Wendy's or something. I could see a BJR doing one because they've got a spare car, but I don't think they have the contacts in America. They might do. In motorsport, there's people who know people. There's your James Smalls in America. There's probably other mechanics and engineers who've gone from supercars to America. So it's just I think there's a lot more. There's a lot more. A lot more talk and a lot less possibility. It happened in 23 and 24, and I think it sort of dried up. I don't know how many times Cam Waters did. Cam Waters NASCAR appearances. Yes, 24, and he did one at Lime Rock in 25. And that's about it. So I think it sort of dried up. He did the 3, the 2 in the Truck Series and 1 in Cup. So he might have dried up, and I'm sure there's teams trying to work on making it happen. So don't know. It'll be good to see it happen though. I watched the one with Jack Perkins at was it Portland? I watched just stage 1 and I was like, oh wow, he's actually doing a pretty good job. But that's the thing is that like a lot of the drivers in supercars are actually pretty good drivers, but whether they're pretty good versus other drivers in supercars is difficult. Because like Jack Perkins wasn't a great full timer in supercars, but he wasn't driving for a top team or being a top entry. It's sort of hard to say, but sometimes those third and fourth entries do actually manage to deliver great performances, like David Reynolds in 2011. So it is possible for that to happen. And if that's the case, then Jack Perkins isn't that great a driver, but he's won races in Super 2, done well there, and then did quite well in Xfinity for that one stage. So, but if you're still watching, Gerard, I've seen you around in everywhere in supercars, in the comments on like Speed Cafe, on my own videos, on other people's videos. There's like so many podcasts and stuff around. I see you pop up quite a bit, so it's always good to see you there. All right, so Macca, I think I'm just gonna stick. I'm not gonna say anything impressive about Macca. Qualifying in 2021 was very strong. But maybe the team was strong that year. Since then, he's been less likely to qualify in the top 15. But is a solid race driver. Did I double space? Yeah. I predict the 18th to 25th in the championship. Sometimes things just go wrong for Macca. Have I got any other teams that I've almost finished somehow? Oh, Jackson Walls. Oh, I can do Jackson Walls. We don't know who his engineer is going to be, so that's going to be an interesting one. Oh. All right. So I predict Jackson Walls is going to get a podium. That's my prediction. Maybe it's because I'm thinking of Super 2 that he was able to put it on pole and win the race. But he's not the worst driver, so I think it could happen. All right, so Triple Eight don't do things by halves, so the SCT entry should be good as any other Triple Eight. Should be as good as the Red Bull Lamb podcast. Right. Jackson won't be as good as the drivers though, but there is a strong potential for at least one top 10 qualifying and race performance. Probably be. I mean, it's just hard to say. It's so hard to say. I think it's going to be a wide range. Be anywhere. Whoops, don't know what I did there. Anywhere from 10th to 20th in the championship. And I think that range is pretty strong. There's so many drivers that I go, oh yeah, he'll be in the top 10. He'll be in the top 10. I go to Premier. I don't like predicting Premier. They're kind of unpredictable. They're just like one of the most unstable teams on the grid. Although, I suppose in terms, if you looked at their consistency over the years, you'd say that they're probably... Actually, you know what? While I'm at this stage, I could actually just do the team stats for Premier. Alright. Alright. Top 10s. Well, Jimmy put it. Didn't get a top 10 for the whole top. Well, they got one with Peter. 2, 3, 4 with Jacobson. 5, 6, 7. Golding. 7 top 10s. How many DNFs? Not, although there were actually a couple that were a little bit not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. None for Peter. Fastest laps. None. Oh, I should probably bring up my season starter presentation. It'd be so much easier to find that information. I don't think they even popped up until they've been around for a couple of years. 23? Oh no, there we go. One fastest lap in 2023. That's what they've got. And then one pole in 24 and a podium, of course, at Sandown. A podium at Bathurst. One fastest lap. No poles. And yeah, just the one podium. Alright, so no fast laps, no poles, teams championship. 10th. How much does 10th in the championship cost? $10 million, $20 million. Oh, we don't need Brad Jones anymore. Top 10. Oh, yeah, top 10. 23. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 top 10s. DNFs. Any? 1. I think there was one fastest lap. No poles. And were they 10th in the championship again? They were 9th. Nice. What is this? Oh, let's just make a Jones. 2024. We're 8th in the championship. They seem to be improving bit by bit, but like 8th in the championship with one driver 7th in the championship. Not a great look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. About the same, really. And 1 DNF. We got one fastest lap, one pole. Was there a pole? I think there was no poles. I guess it's 8. No fastest laps for Premier in 24. 25 though. One fastest lap, and that was it. And one podium. And top 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. Having a bit of a team 18 sort of time. Team 18 were like notoriously getting half of the top 10s all year, every year, until they got Anton in 2025. And that's made me think, oh, well, if they're able to do that, then maybe they can actually get great results in 2026. Because they used to go, oh no, they're gonna get half the top 10s like they usually do. They're gonna have a usual sort of year. You just can't be sure of those things. Maybe a big shake-up was something. That's what the doctor ordered. Right, let's get some fresh blood in. Get Di Pasquale. Get Andrew Donnelly. See if that's the one that makes it happen. Get two fresh faces in. Andrew Donnelly's relatively. He's done a few years in the championship. He was Macca Jones' engineer for a few years, and then he's gone to Team 18 with Di Pasquale, and Di Pasquale's been in the championship for a few years, but he hasn't been here for 10 years. And so, boom, you're getting results. Whereas, like a Reynolds and a Winterbottom, they have been. So, Pye came in, and Pye was good, but things just kept going wrong for him. And so it's the 2025 was Team 18's best year ever. The next best was the first year in as a two-car team, 2020. But boom, in terms of number of top 10s though, best since 2021. 22 wasn't too bad, but 23 and 24 were quite bad. DNFs for Premier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not good. They were pretty good at it for a while, and then nope. So, major sponsor, alright. In 2023, it was Coca-Cola. And for the other car was a Subway. And then in 2023, it was Nylon on both cars, and also November on Nylon. And 2025 was actually Isuzu, Nylon. I want to say Nylon was still part of it. Nylon, I guess. It looks like they might have the same sort of year, but they got Roland Dane coming in, and they're going to have two fresh drivers. I think they could they could upset in the same sort of way that Team 18 have brought in some fresh blood and really upset. The only thing that are the same, well, that they might be the same, because they're going to still have Simon Hodge. Andrew Gilliam is someone they've actually brought through the ranks. Ojeda he did put the thing in the shootout at Adelaide, so there's some real potential there. And Declan Fraser did a great job as a co-driver, so he could really come back and do a great job. Don't know how long I'll finish. Yeah, I guess I'll just finish what I'm doing, the predictions, and then we'll come up with something, and then I'll call it a stream, and then I got other stuff to do. Go do some shopping. Go do a bit of gardening. All right, so yeah, Ojeda did a did a decent job. Placing Stanaway at the end of 2025. Did an impressive shootout performance at Adelaide. I'll say in Adelaide. He wasn't better than Golding overall, but there is the possibility that turn out further impressive performances in his first full-time season. Yeah. Yeah. The team are shaking things up with 2 new drivers and a new team boss, which worked for Team 18 in 2025, so it could certainly happen for Premier in 2026. Rojada has a more experienced teammate in Fraser, so hard to say who'll be better. Yeah, it's tough to say. I predict Juice will be 15th. I can't see Jaden Ojeda being last in the championship. I just can't see it. But Jackson Evans, Richie Stanaway. It's tough to say because Jackson only had a bad season. Once the momentum sort of fell out underneath him, he kept on getting in accidents. It probably didn't help his morale in that back end of the season. Richie was just unfortunate, right? He's driving for a team where he's just struggling to get things right, and then the reason he was last in the championship is because he didn't finish the season. So, do I think that Jaden Ojeda will be crashing more? I don't think so because Ojeda's got a lot more experience than Jackson Evans. So I'm gonna say 15th to 23rd in the championship. I'm doing a little thing in some of these other ones where it's like 24th, the worst I can see him being. I think Decker is going to lead the charge because of his experience. I think Decker is also probably a better talent. 2021, you got to remember, in Super 2, Ojeda and Fraser were actually teammates at MW driving Nissans. So, yeah, could they know each other. They could work well together. Yeah. So, yeah. There's rebuilt his career. He's this is unfortunate departure from Tigford at the end of his rookie season. He was strong in GTs or GT3 and good co-driver at BJR. So every chance that another Golding for Premier. Now, expect him to lead the charge purely on experience. I think I looked at how many just purely on experience, but experience isn't always everything. You know, Ojeda came into Super 2 and was immediately impressive. I think Declan Fraser took a little bit of time to get good. Fast lap for Ojeda. A couple of poles for Ojeda. Yeah, so 2021 he was actually quite good. Fraser was his teammate and just wasn't close enough. So I really wasn't impressive. And I think I talked about that in my video complaining about Declan Fraser, saying that he wasn't good enough. And sort of got a little bit of people banging at me over it. I don't know. You know, I want to say that Declan Fraser is good and better than he was. But he's been a co-driver at BJR and they haven't had the best time. No. How did Andre do at... They do it in 27th. I think they had an issue. 7th at Bathurst. That's good. And 11th at Sandown and 16th at Bathurst. So they had one good race pretty much. The other one's not so good. Don't need season starter anymore. Experience isn't always everything. When he was teammates with Ojeda, I mean, experience isn't always everything, but Ojeda was the more experienced driver at MSR. But I think even then, like, Ojeda didn't quite. He got a podium towards the end of the 2020 season, and then here in 2021, he's been a lot more consistent, right up there. Whereas Decker, he's a lot further back than he should have been. Got a podium there, and it looks like he crashed out of that. Oh, he had that big crash in qualifying, I think. Yeah. So then what else? And then in 22, Deco obviously turned it around and won the championship, driving for Triple Eight. But even then, I mean, well, you can't look at the past and pick 1 year from the history and say that's why they're bad, I guess. But you got to look at it at the more recent results, and I think Decker has turned it around, and so he does deserve this opportunity. So. I can't think of a time when experience didn't matter more. Unless it was, I mean, sometimes just I think a rookie can't beat an experienced driver, I think, but it's only 1 year versus several wild cards and co-driving performances. So yeah, it's tough. Yeah, if I'm just going off experience, I mean, the thing is, you got to think, why did they put Ojeda in instead of Fraser? Right? They could have had Fraser versus Golding, and that would have been a pretty interesting benchmark there. I would have done that, but they put Ojeda in, and I don't know if it's because Decker wasn't around that time, or if it's because they felt like Ojeda needed the mileage, and I think that's probably what it was. Decker's more experienced, so he's going to be good. So yeah. Expectation to be that Decker was better than Juice. Didn't need the mileage, and so that's why Juice drove at the end of 5. So yeah, I predict Decker will be. Well, I want to put him up where Golding was in 24, 7th. 7th down to 7th to championship, yeah. Alright, that's what I've got. Now let's do this. I want to do the standings. This is the drivers. Wow, driver standings. Alright. So, Brock Feeney. And who else have I got? I think I said Will Brown's going to be top 4. Will Brown will be top 4. I think I said Cam Waters will be top 4. Sort of, yeah, there's quite a few drivers who I'm like, oh, I don't think they're going to be that great. So I'm going to put Will Brown, Cameron Waters, and Matt Payne. And then we got Brody Kostecki. Did I say Kai Allen will be top 10? Yeah. Kai Allen. Anton, I think. Anton Di Pasquale. Andre Heimgartner, I think I put him in. Alright. Andre Heimgartner. In this, there's a couple that I just don't have them in the top 10. Okay. And then I guess I'm gonna go based on Ryan Wood. I forgot to put Ryan Wood in. Whoops. Ryan Wood. This is not specific. I'm not specifically predicting who will be better, but I might reorder them around a bit. So, Ryan Wood. We had Anton. I'm predicting Rylan Gray will not be in the top 10 of the championship. I predict that Thomas Randall will not be in the top 10 of the championship. I've got 10th there, but then I've also got like Decker a lot higher up. Yeah, I got Decker there 7th. It's kind of crazy to put Decker up there. That's what I've done. Declan Fraser. Can you let me move this? Yeah, Declan Fraser. Anyone else can be 10th? Oh, we've got Golding there 10th. What else? Golding, LeBrock. All right. James Golding, Jack LeBrock. Some interesting ones. All right, 10th. What else? Cameron Hill, Rylan Gray, Dave Reynolds, Thomas Randall. I want to put Cooper Murray further up, to be honest. I've got more faith in Cooper Murray than I've got in some of these other drivers. I don't know. I'm gonna do I put Dave Reynolds? Do I back David Reynolds? I think I kind of want to back him. It's tough. I feel like he just did not have a very good year at all. In fact, he had one of the worst years of anyone. He got a podium at Bathurst, and that was the best thing that happened to him all year. And a podium at Townsville. So I'm gonna put Cameron Hill. And I'll put Thomas Randall because he should be somewhere up there. What else have we got? I really want to put Cooper Murray further up. Rylan Gray. We got. Alright, so we've done all them. David Reynolds. I mean, David Reynolds isn't that bad. He's got to be somewhere in there. David Reynolds. Alright, sort of mixing them up. Alright. David Reynolds. Cooper Murray. Zach Bates. Aaron Cameron. Oops. Jada. We got what? Micah Jones. Joe Stewart. Jackson Walls. Jackson Walls. Jade, no Jada. Macaulay Jones. We're stacked with talent. It's gonna be interesting. Job Stewart. That him? No, we're missing one. Who am I missing? Will Brown, Brock Feeney right up there. Jackson Wall's way down 20th for some reason. Matt Payne, Kai Allen. Chaz Monster. Where the heck's Chaz Monster, for God's sake? Chaz will be further up than any of these guys. Jesus Christ. Alright, don't know why I thought that I hadn't done it yet. Dickford. Thomas Reno done. Cameron Hill. Collie Jones. Andre. Jack LeBrock. Zach Bates. Kip Mojo. Stewart. Is that it? We got less cars in 2025, or how many full-time cars do we have? Yeah, 24. Alright. I don't know why I just thought we had more. Forgot about Chaz Mostert. How did I do that? Jackson Wall's down in 21st, apparently. That can't be right. I don't know about that. I think Waters will be better than Will Brown. I don't know. Matt Payne. He'll be up there for sure. Brody, I just don't see him being that close. Chaz, I think I want to put Ryan Wood further up because he did a really good job. I'm going to put Woody ahead of Mostert. We're at Kai Allen. I'll put him down in 8th. It's tough. Really tough. Some of these people you go, oh, he's better than that guy, but apparently one year he was better. Yeah, it's a bit better. 11th for Fraser, 12th for Golding, 13th for LeBrock. Is there a rookie that I've got like way too far up? Rolling Gray, 16th. That's not too bad. Reynolds, Cooper Murray. You know what? I'm putting Cooper Murray up there. Jack LeBrock in 13th. I'm going to put Cooper 13th. I think that'll be better. Zach Bates 19th. Thing is, like, you got to think Randall's in a Tickford car, right? And he hasn't been doing a terrible job. He hasn't been terrible. He just hasn't been near Waters. Like, Waters is 3rd, I'm predicting, and Randall's down in 16th. I'm going to put Randall up here. Like 11th. Fraser 12th, Golding 13th, Murray 14th, Brock 15th. Yeah, it's looking a bit reasonable. Zach Bates 19th, Aaron Cameron 20th, Walls 21st. But like Walls is in a 888 car, for crying out loud. Like, they got to get it. It's going to be better, right? Surely Walls is guaranteed to be. It's the other next door neighbor. Cameron Hill 16th. I don't know. But, you know, he might be. But, like, is BJR better than BRT? Because I think they are. I don't know, though. It's tough. Alright, I'll put Cam Hill 15th. Oh, it's so tough. So much potential. And it's so hard to predict it. I'm not saying I'm done. I'm not saying I'm finished predicting them, but it's not looking good. Um, all right. So I'm done. I've done that. All right. And then I'm gonna wrap up the stream. So yeah. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. All right. I've finished working on my predictions. And the video is gonna come out later. It's pretty much gonna have all the same information that I've got in the PowerPoint presentation, but it's gonna be um, it's just gonna have the pictures from the preseason test, and that's it. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Brock Feeney's gonna win the championship because he has to. He's that good. I don't think there's anyone crazy who's gonna be really good. Maybe Jackson Walls could impress, but he's in a Triple Eight car, so we expect the Triple Eight car to get great results. So yeah, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for commenting in the chat, and I'll see you same time next weekend, 9 a.m. Sunday, and maybe slightly different depending on what state you're in. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.